There isn't that much to talk about when it comes to the new Chainsawman episode. I have mentioned the amazing character acting a billion times by this point, so instead let's break down the animation behind the opening and all of the endings. I haven't really talked much about them after all. Make sure to like and subscribe, we are really close to 1,000 subscribers, which blows my mind every time, like really. And let's get started. Let's kick this off with the opening, and there's an all-star team behind the visuals. Also, I feel like I should mention this, there's apparently a group of people who don't like the opening song, which really was news to me. Are we so used to the generic J-rock guitar strums and vocals that anything remotely different doesn't appeal to us anymore? I wonder. Anyway, this video is about the visuals. The opening, of course, is directed and storyboarded by Shingo Yamashita, the man behind both the Jujutsu Kaisen openings as well as the second opening from Ranking of Kings. And he's just too good at this point. His transitions are extremely well done. He manages to weave every cut together with these incredible transitions without disrupting the flow of the visuals. Each cut flows into the next one seamlessly. The timings on the cross dissolves and other transition elements is flawless. As for the animation, the very first cut is animated by series director Ryu Nakayama, which is poetic. There's a lot of line work on the arm, something that the designs in the actual anime don't have. The next couple of cuts are animated by Shota Goshozono, with his first cut being fully CGI. The designs for the main cast of characters here is different from the actual anime. We then have a fairly quick montage of movie references. I'm sure all of you have seen those videos which show a side by side of the opening and the original material it's referencing. Personally, I did not catch a single one of those as I haven't seen any of the movies it referenced, so let's not get into that. Also, the aspect ratio changes depending on the cut. The movie theater scene is quite well done as it highlights the characters and their personalities very well. Nothing too impressive animation wise. And I swear, this opening has just the most creative transitions ever. They transition from Denji's face to the next cut with an actual tumbleweed rolling across the screen. Aki throwing the bowling ball is followed by some really cool camera work making use of a 3D background. After the bowling pins are shattered, the screen quickly cross-dissolves into a frame of a sky filled with stars, which then quickly fades into power. How do you come up with transitions like that? Some really cool cuts follow, especially of the bullets. If you know, you know. Some amazing hand animation can be seen as well. And then we get to this trippy cut. There are so many interesting things about this. The highly glossy look that almost looks like plastic but in a good way. Also the chromatic aberration on the edges of the shadows on Denji's face. Also there's a zoomed in version of the same cut with very low opacity right next to his face. No, it's not supposed to be a reflection, as a part of it is actually on Denji's actual face. It's like his face is on top of his face. It's an interesting look. A few more cuts leads us to this explosion of action animation. The first three cuts here are animated by Verkreek. Denji slides down the side of a building using his chainsaw hands to slow himself down. A really cool touch here, you can actually see the damage done to the building, which does disappear a few frames later, but literally no one cares. There's just a ton of movement as Denji slices whatever this is supposed to be, and I have to mention this again, the transitions are absolutely amazing. It allows the visuals to flow smoothly and retains the energy of the previous cut. The next couple of cuts are done by NBM. There's some interesting blood animation here, and Denji gets thrown around a lot. The building that Denji hits and flies past is actually hand-drawn, but the one at a distance that he crashes into is 3D. Probably because only a part of the first building needed to be shown, so it was quicker to draw that one. Of course, you can find the letters C, S, and M as Denji crashes into various things. What follows next is my favorite cut from the entire opening. Animated by Tam Lu, it just looks so good. Denji goes completely off model to get the energy across. The almost paintbrush-like effects on the background as well as the foreground work so well. The compositing also really helped this scene as well. It was apparently supposed to be an End of Evangelion reference, and that is a movie that I have seen, but I didn't catch that one. Lots of cross-dissolving follows as we see more cuts of action with some amazing smears. The entire impact of Denji cutting through whatever he is cutting through is transitioned into an egg cracking of all things. More quick cuts including the Keiichiro Watanabe sequence, which brings us to the last two cuts animated by Koki Fujimoto, who might be the best fabric animator right now. Power and Denji's clothes, despite being heavily detailed, moves according to their movements. Absolute insanity. This whole opening looked absolutely phenomenal. This is the best looking opening ever, isn't it? Is that an unpopular opinion? It shouldn't be. Moving on to the endings, they are really impressive in their own way, as there are different visuals for every one of them. Besides the first one, of course. Naturally, let's start with the second ED, which actually has separately animated visuals. The second ending was solo animated by Hitomi Kariya, and it had a very different look compared to anything else from the anime. The art style looked like those thumbnails from those lo-fi videos you see on YouTube. It also looked a bit like the first Komi Can't Communicate opening. Everything had thick, patchy outlines. It's a really nice look. The way the wind moves Denji's hair and outfit as he falls down is really well done. There's not much else to talk about. The third ending is pure insanity. It has a very dark look with a really cool color palette and amazing transitions from cut to cut. Even during the early few scenes, the backgrounds are extremely busy and always moving. There's a ton of very subtle camera shakes as well. The backgrounds were busy when the foreground characters were not doing much, but when Denji pulls the cord on his chest, the background is just a simple gradient. This focuses your attention to the foreground. The line work on Denji's face is extremely good looking. What follows is pure chaos, a lot of it being animated by Licton. The colors change a lot, there's a ton of moving elements on screen at the same time, and the effects are really good. There's a lot of distortion on Denji at one point. This whole thing reminds me of the Ida Tendeities opening. The rest of the ED consists of some really well drawn frames and a really nice looking color palette. This brings us to the fourth ED, which is solo animated by Cole. I don't think he has worked on an anime before aside from a Pokemon music video, correct me if I'm wrong, but I really love the visuals for this. It has that fan animation feel to it, but it also has a professional level of polish. There isn't that much to break down from an animation point of view. The dancing scenes are most likely rotoscoped and the outlines change between thick and thin a lot. It is just really cute. And that brings us to the latest ED as of this recording, ED5. And in terms of visuals, this is the best one so far. Visuals of this level coming from one of 11 endings, it almost feels illegal. This ED was directed by Hiromatsu Shu and everything about this was extremely creative. From the unique art direction and line work near the start to the gorgeous horse that's animated on ones. And in case you didn't know, horses are one of the most difficult things to animate. These stills are also absolutely incredible. It looks like it was drawn by an extremely talented artist who also happens to be schizophrenic. Especially this frame, most of it is scribbled but it looks so good. More creative visuals, a lot of it having a high frame rate can be seen. We can also see a colorful unicorn, although the horn on its head looks more like a knife, causing destruction. The unicorn is highly stylized and colorful while the background behind it lacks color and looks realistic. I believe the correct term for that is a juxtaposition. This cut is also really impressive as the giant face is actually rotating but it's never off model. More trippy cuts leads us to this sequence. The liquid animation is just absolutely gorgeous. The rest of the ED is just more highly stylized visuals with the characters drawn and colored in a different and extremely creative way. This just looked amazing, which just about does it. I will not break down the actual episodes for now, although I will have to resume doing that by the 8th episode onwards if the leaked staff lists are correct. So that was it. Do you like the opening and the endings for this show? Which ending is your favorite? Comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time.